Ghidella. Thanks for being with us. Look forward to seeing you next time on The Taste Australia.
Tonight on 7 News, the Prime Minister's cash splash for home building and household renovations. Do you qualify?
The 3 police who stood by while George Floyd died are charged as big crowds of protesters keep on marching.
Teenage girls just 15 and 16 charged with murder over the Surfers Paradise balcony death.
Qantas and Jetstar renew some flights in time for school holidays, but the Gold Coast misses out.
Fears of an apprenticeship Armageddon. The area is now considered recession-proof.
And price freeze on water and big help to cut every Queenslander's power bill.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Sharyn Ghidella and Max Futcher.
Good evening. Australians can now apply for $25,000 grants to help renovate their homes or build new ones.
The Morrison government is trying to boost the struggling building industry, but Labor says it won't help the battlers.
The initial response to Scott Morrison's home builder announcement: get off the grass.
Hey guys, I've just reseeded that.
Sure, let's just move back from there.
Onto the footpath.
That's all good, thanks.
And on with the sales job.
Rebuilding communities, rebuilding our economy.
$25,000 grants for house and land packages of up to $750,000 and renovations between $150,000 and $750,000 on homes valued under $1.5 million, but not pools, sheds, garages or granny flats, and not for investment properties. Part stimulus, part rescue, with construction work predicted to collapse by half in the next 6 months.
There's a sense of relief around the thousands of builders and tradies around the country.
The grants are limited to singles earning up to $125,000, couples $200,000 for work lodged between now and the end of December, costing taxpayers $688 million, and the government says creating 1 million direct and indirect jobs.
Our plumbers, our carpenters, our sparkies, our painters.
Labor says the plan ignores low-cost social housing and questions whether battlers can afford $150,000 renovations during a pandemic.
That's a pretty decent renovation to your bathroom or to your kitchen.
And ridicules the government's million jobs claim.
And over the next few months, as tradies in their utes are doing laps around Centrelink looking for a car parking space, they'll know who to blame.
Nigel Seymour is selling his home and hopes the package has impact beyond new builds.
Fingers crossed that it'll get someone through and get that little bit of a boost that we need, because the market is very quiet at the moment.
Seed funding aimed at bringing buyers across the lawn.
And Mark Riley has some Treasury predictions on the scheme.
Max, Treasury expects about 3/4 of this money to go on new builds and 1/4 on renovations. That's about 6,000 large-scale renos. The Master Builders Association says the average cost of a renovation project this year is $160,000, but that's from all income scales, not just those covered by this scheme. And welfare groups like St Vincent de Paul and Anglicare are criticising the lack of support for social housing, a missed opportunity, they say, with thousands more people driven into poverty by this pandemic.
Mark Riley reporting there. And coming up, will the scheme work in Queensland? What homeowners considering it need to know. Now to the chaos in America, and George Floyd died in the custody of 4 Minneapolis police officers who are now each facing the prospect of 40 years behind bars. Charges were laid and upgraded for the policeman, something many Americans have been demanding since his death.
On the Minneapolis corner where George Floyd was killed.
We got all four!
Celebrations.
We got all four!
And hope for real change.
We shall overcome.
I think that it will be a wake-up call for the whole nation.
We're here today because George Floyd is not here.
Minnesota's Attorney General now prosecuting all 4 arresting officers. Derek Chauvin had been facing a maximum 25 years in jail. His charges now upgraded from 3rd-degree murder to 2nd-degree murder, a conviction that carries 40 years in prison. The 3 other officers, Thomas Lane, J. Alexander King and Tu Tao, all charged with aiding and abetting that murder. Equally responsible, they too are facing 40 years in jail.
This is a step today that the public wants to see.
But it came with a warning.
Winning a conviction will be hard. We're confident in what we're doing.
New details too from Mr Floyd's post-mortem, revealing he tested positive to COVID-19 on April 3, more than 7 weeks before his killing. He was asymptomatic but positive from that infection. Today, his 27-year-old son Quincy taking a knee, praying, his heart broken.
No man or woman should be without their fathers.
The sight of George Floyd's death has become a symbol of hope and healing, not just for this community, but for the Floyd family itself.
Is watching. Oh, the world is watching.
Watching as more video emerges of police assaults, this time in Maryland.
Oh, he's kicking him. Oh!
Those officers suspended. And from America's first black president,
there is a change in mindset that's taking place.
Barack Obama weighing in for the first time.
You should be able to learn and make mistakes and live a life of joy without having to worry about what's going to happen when you walk to the store or go for a jog or looking at some birds in a park.
Here in Minneapolis, people know that could be a long road.
I won't be satisfied until I can wake up and have kids and have them not fear their lives just for being black, for being darker than other people. It's not enough. I can say it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough until everything changes.
Into the night, bigger crowds marched across American cities, determined to make those charges the first step towards change. Donald Trump claims the National Guard and his military threat now have the country under control.
In astounding numbers, New York police enforce curfew. Arrests.
Just stop!
Police left injured. One is shot. In the capital, a military barricade.
This is the state of the streets outside the White House in the world's greatest democracy. Heavily armed military on one side, angry protesters on the other.
If you didn't have that uniform on there, arrest you just like me.
Pushing the crowd blocks back from the White House and the Capitol. Lockdown extended to 11 p.m.
We're now 5 minutes past curfew, but the military hasn't moved in. The protesters are standing firm.
A peaceful standoff, but they aren't leaving.
We need healing, but we also need strength and we need toughness and we need law and order.
President Trump stands by his military threat.
We have it totally under control. We brought in incredible people. They took care of the situation very easily.
In interviews today, denying he was ever sheltered in a bunker.
Well, it was a false report. I wasn't down. I went down during the day, and I was there for a tiny, little short period of time, and it was much more for an inspection. There was no problem during the day.
Claiming his path to church for a photo wasn't cleared by force.
There were no, what would you call them, the rubber bullets or whatever. There was none of that used. They just moved him back. I think everything was handled very well. I will tell you, religious leaders loved it.
His former Defence Secretary, James Mattis, furious over a bizarre photo op and that troops have been ordered to violate constitutional rights. He says Donald Trump is the first president in my lifetime who does not try to unite the American people, does not even pretend to try. Instead, he tries to divide us. We are witnessing the consequences of 3 years without mature leadership. Quoting the Nazi slogan, divide and conquer, against America's answer, in union there is strength. His current Defence Secretary broke ranks too.
The option to use active duty forces in a law enforcement role should only be used as a matter of last resort and only in the most urgent and dire of situations. We are not in one of those situations now.
There are pockets of agitators, protesters being attacked. This one likely charged. In Los Angeles, bigger crowds all day, but into a 9th-long night, it's largely peaceful, just unlikely to end until change begins.
We are going to rebuild and rebuild and rebuild until it is rebuilt. Because when the foundation is broken, so are we.
In Washington, D.C., Amelia Brace, 7 News.
And we should mention action's been taken against the police officers who assaulted Amelia and cameraman Tim Myers while they were reporting live on protests in Washington. The acting chief says 2 US Park police officers have been assigned to administrative duties while an investigation takes place.
2 teenage girls have been charged with the murder of a Brisbane teen who fell to his death from a Surfers Paradise high-rise. Alex Lewis, police say the girls recorded his killing.
Well, those videos, Sharyn, are indeed what led to their arrests this morning. The 15 and 16-year-old girls from Coomera, who we can't identify for legal reasons, are also accused of taking part in the torture and armed robbery of Kean English. The 19-year-old was so terrified he tried to escape by climbing over the balcony, police regarding his fatal plunge as murder.
I know if my daughter was, when she was 16, if she wasn't at home, I'd be asking the questions, where the hell is she? Why aren't parents doing that today?
A magistrate denied media access to today's proceedings to protect the teens. 3 young men, Hayden Kratzman, Jason Knowles and Lachlan Sopolagis, have also been charged. They're due to face court again in August.
Thanks, Alex. 2 senior police officers have broken down, recalling the night a drunk driver ran down their colleague. The family of Senior Constable Aaron Izzard were told he wouldn't survive. Now the man responsible is staring at a jail sentence.
Senior Constable Aaron Izzard shouldn't be walking, talking, but he is. He was struck by a car driven by a drunk driver at Chermside in 2018. It happened in front of his colleagues, now friends, Senior Constable Luke Hedges and Jason Butler.
Quite emotional, being good mates of mine, and certainly feel like I played a part in upsetting them.
Aaron suffered catastrophic injuries. He spent 10 days in a coma. His family were told he wouldn't survive.
Being a daily sort of battle, I guess, with the ongoing injuries.
The officers were following a speeding stolen car off Gympie Road into Bouchard Street. Senior Constable Izzard tried to stop it. He stood in front of the car. The driver, Craig Townsend, accelerated at him.
I don't wish for it to happen to anyone else, and hopefully it doesn't in the future.
The incident has had a profound impact on all 3 officers. Aaron's colleagues broke down in court, explaining how it's changed their careers and their personal lives. Jason can no longer go to Chermside Shopping Centre or watch his children play sport in the same area. I cry when they leave. I feel helpless. My wife and children do not deserve to suffer. Luke blames himself. I was plagued with guilt and sadness. The man who is to blame will be sentenced tomorrow. Jessica Mummy, 7 News.
It's a system built on keeping families together, but there are now growing calls for child safety to adopt out children most at risk after it failed Mason Lee. But he wasn't the first. Tonight, how a history of inaction continues to repeat.
Her name was Brooke Brennan.
Just perfect angel.
The 3-year-old was beaten to death at Bigara Waters by her mother's boyfriend in 1999. A report later found
a fatal lack of action and communication within the state's child protection system.
The problem was those procedures were significantly flawed.
The government vowed to fix it.
It's a tragedy in itself that it took this to happen for us to learn the lessons, but we have.
2 decades later, a tragically similar case. Mason Lee, killed by his parents, failed by the same system.
There needs to be an earlier conversation, a real conversation about adoption as an option.
In 2013, the Carmody inquiry made that very recommendation. 7 years later, it still hasn't been implemented. Between 2015 and 2016, 45 children known to child safety died. The coroner now wants the department to report numbers of children adopted every 6 months for the next 5 years.
Shifting community perception about the need for adoption.
Last year, more than 47,000 Australian children were abused or neglected. Only 253 were adopted.
People are not putting their hands up to provide permanent families for children who are in difficulty.
Less than 24 hours after the Premier backtracked on a 3-year-old promise to release the government's own report into Mason's death, her office now says it is committed to releasing it, but is seeking advice from Crown Law first, before we can get more answers for Mason. Mac Lyon, 7 News.
Travelling within Queensland will soon be a lot easier, with Qantas and Jetstar announcing the number of domestic flights is on the rise. But one tourism mecca has missed out.
Warm, sunny, welcoming. This is winter in Cairns, a tropical paradise normally crawling with tourists, now crying out for them.
The Brisbane market's very important. Right? The whole Queensland market is important as well.
Businesses struggling to stay afloat, their owners feeling let down following the Premier's announcement yesterday of cheap flights to another holiday hotspot, the Whitsundays.
The choice is clear if you're in Brisbane, which is not fair on us.
But there is hope on the horizon. Qantas today revealing plans to increase domestic flights, including resuming its service between Brisbane and Cairns. By the end of this month, there will be 6 weekly return flights, the same for Brisbane to Townsville, another 7 from Brisbane to Mackay. Jetstar also resuming additional services. Confidence returning with just 3 active coronavirus cases across Queensland. Still, Qantas's flight increase is only 15% of its pre-COVID capacity, and the Gold Coast misses out entirely.
I was extremely annoyed and disturbed about that. When people are making a choice within Queensland about where to go, it's going to make it more difficult for them to choose the Gold Coast.
Another disappointing blow for a tourism destination so desperate to roll out the welcome mat. Emily Arnold, 7 News.
And Gold Coast airport bosses have piled more pressure on the Premier to open our borders, saying travel within Queensland won't save the tourist strip. Joining the chorus of discontent, a group of rural residents now driving hours more to run daily errands.
On the border, but not on the fence when it comes to reopening the state.
The situation right now is not manageable.
It's a nightmare, especially for the little ones.
In the Currumbin Valley, the border crossing isn't patrolled by police, it's barricaded.
I have to go all the way around on the highway.
It's taking me up to 4 hours of driving per day just to take the children to school.
We cannot get through the border to do our regular trade.
They want a crossing instead, like those on the coastal strip.
These residents are just as important as everyone else. I'm not asking for it to be open, I'm asking for it to be a crossing.
The PM is asking for the borders to reopen, saying the Premier's call at the end of the month will be too late.
It means that people who might book a holiday for July will have already booked it somewhere else.
Intrastate travel's really not going to cut it for the Gold Coast.
Compared to May last year, when 470,000 passengers came through Coolangatta Airport, last month that figure plunged to just 2,000.
So a 99% fall in passenger numbers.
All this as Clive Palmer and a group of businesses pursue legal action against the state. Both cases were mentioned in Brisbane today, with Palmer's set down for a hearing in 4 weeks.
In the meantime, Destination Gold Coast has released the latest ad in a publicity blitz.
Let's meet again soon.
But when? They can't say. On the Gold Coast, Amanda Abate, 7 News.
Reducing traffic congestion between the Gold Coast and Brisbane could soon be possible with a new animation showing what an alternative M1 could look like. The Coomera connector would have 3 lanes in each direction. It would start from Nerang and run north over the Coomera River and connect with the Logan and Pacific Motorway intersection. The project is still in its early stages.
Let's check on today's weather now. And Tony, another frosty start to the day.
As it was, Sharyn, these fresh winter mornings have really set in. Now, this shot was taken at the Bunya Mountains, while further south, Stanthorpe was the coldest spot in the state, dropping to -3. Across the southeast, not quite that cold. Canunga dropped to 1 and Ipswich a minimum of 3 degrees today. That cloud thickened. Gatton was warmest on 23 degrees, with most other spots topping out at 21. I'll be back soon with the forecast.
Thanks, Tony. It's the most heavily reported missing person case in modern history. Tonight, a massive breakthrough in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann.
Why did this Tesla on autopilot not see an overturned truck in the middle of the road?
See the moment the earth moves in Norway, sending homes crashing into the sea.
And before weather, picking a winner, the apprenticeships to grab now to ride out the recession.
Hello, Matt. Are you ready for Monday, 7:30?
I've lived in Broken Hill my whole life.
What bloody flies?
You got to sort of make your own fun a bit out here. Really got that community spirit.
I am Big Brother, and I've chosen you. Welcome to my brand new house.
I hope I'm a pretty likeable guy.
Let's hope you're ready for what I've got planned.
What are you playing at?
I am Big Brother, and I'll see you Monday, 7:30.
7.
Right now, businesses are facing their toughest challenges. Get advice and inspiration from other local businesses on cash flow, marketing and managing staff. Get the support you need at businessaustralia.com.
Switch gives you the power to pick your promo. This Stradbroke Handicap Day, choose whether to double your winnings or get bonus back if your horse finishes second or third in races 1 to 4 at Eagle Farm, Randwick and Flemington. Ladbrokes, back yourself.
The new Bissell Crosswave Cordless Max vacuums and washes your floors at the same time. Dry messes, wet messes. It even freshens rugs. It releases clean water and Bissell formula to help sanitise surfaces. Microfibers mop while soft bristles gently scrub and sweep, and powerful suction pulls the dirty water into a separate tank. It's cordless for grab-and-go freedom. It even cleans itself. To see it in action, visit these leading retailers.
He knows he's the most important person in the family, but he doesn't know what strong urinary flow means. Cats don't always know what's good for them. Lucky you do. Optimum Urinary Care Formula.
Make your home beautiful with furniture from Harvey Norman. We have a huge range of quality choices and exclusive designs. Fabric and leather lounges, flexible family-friendly modulars, manual or powered recliners, sofas with the latest smart tech built in, dining suites to complement a classic or bold contemporary look, plus the very best of Australian-made lounge and dining furniture, customizable to suit your style. Shop smart, shop safe in our spacious stores and take advantage of 60 months interest-free. Available now at Harvey Norman, your furniture specialist.
Ready for a change? Suncorp now has 0 monthly account keeping fees on all deposit accounts. That's on both personal accounts and business accounts. That's the Suncorp spirit.
The Land Rover main event, with offers as spectacular as our vehicles. Like savings that leave the GST behind and a 5-year warranty. All yours on Land Rover Discovery Sport. On now.
Switch gives you the power to pick your promo. This Stradbroke Handicap Day, choose whether to double your winnings or get bonus back if your horse finishes second or third in races 1 to 4 at Eagle Farm, Randwick and Flemington. Ladbrokes, back yourself.
Police have released terrifying footage of the moment a convenience store worker was threatened during an armed robbery. 2 men were seen entering a Sunnybank Hills service station. One of the offenders attempted to climb under the counter but was unsuccessful. He then demanded cash while the other threatened the 23-year-old staff member with a knife. The worker forced to hand over the till before the 2 men fled on foot. It's been said before, but tonight there is a genuine breakthrough in the Madeleine McCann mystery, police naming a pedophile as the prime suspect. Investigators say she was likely murdered 13 years ago by the predator who is right now in jail in Germany for a series of crimes.
The face of 3-year-old Madeleine McCann, known the world over, but frozen in time. Now, on a German TV crime show, revelations of a tragic breakthrough. The evidence we've obtained so far leads us to believe she is dead, this senior detective says. And they have a new prime suspect, a man who in 2007 was living near the Portuguese holiday apartment from where Maddie vanished. He received a phone call just an hour before she disappeared. The suspect is already in a German jail on unrelated charges, but has a long history of break-ins in the same Portuguese resort town and sex crimes against young girls. Police in Britain hope any hesitant witnesses will now feel safe coming forward.
There may be people in the past who have been quite fearful of coming forward to the police. My message is to anybody that has information, did he speak to you in confidence and tell you what happened that night? And that is my message.
At one stage, suspects, parents Kate and Jerry McCann, said in a statement, "We will never give up hope of finding Madeleine alive. But whatever the outcome may be, we need to know as we need to find peace." Despite the $20 million price tag, British police have refused to give up their investigation into Maddie McCann's disappearance, described as the most reported missing persons case in history. More than 13 years on, Madeleine would have celebrated her 17th birthday last month. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
Disturbing pictures from Taiwan of a Tesla car crashing into an overturned truck in the middle of a busy freeway. The driver says the car was on autopilot, although he didn't hit the brakes himself until far too late, indicating he might not have been paying attention. The car also didn't stop for the truck driver, who was standing in the lane trying to direct traffic away. Incredibly, no one was injured.
Two 500-year-old paintings by Renaissance master Raphael have been discovered hiding in plain sight at the Vatican. The pictures have always been on display but were thought to have been painted by another artist. Scholars believe they were Raphael's last works before his sudden death in 1520 at the age of 37. Queensland's first COVID-safe plan has been approved. The Deputy Premier does some heavy lifting as big gyms are allowed more than 20 people in to tackle COVID kilos.
A cruel deception, how scammers are stealing a fortune through prayer.
The moment houses slid into the sea and the frantic mission to save a pet dog.
And after Sport Queensland has given a price freeze on some utilities for now.
His dad doesn't have long left.
You can make the most of the time you've got left.
If I can see him in his element, doing what he loves, then I'll always have something great to remember him by.
I have these moments when I panic, when I shut down and go manic.
I've never played in front of my son before, so that makes this the biggest gig of my life.
19 years, 6 months and 23 days. It was the day that I found out that I was a dad. This is for you, my son.
Home and Away, weeknights on 7.
As credit to you, here's up to $120 credit from us. Add any selected month-to-month mobile plan with Vodafone and get the credit you deserve over 12 months. Find out more at vodafone.com.au. Ready?
Stick boredom on the bench. Footy's back. For every Thursday and Friday NRL game this round, place a head-to-head bet, and if your team wins by 6 or more, we'll double your winnings in bonus bets up to $50. Tab, long may we play.
Right now with Clarendon Homes, you can enjoy more luxury for less. 50 premium upgrades for only $3,990 with luxe inclusions. Stunning upgrades that take luxury to the next level. Hurry, limited time only.
We miss you. Come for dinner. We're getting Hungry Jack's delivered.
Feed the family. Get Hungry Jack's Flame Grilled Whoppers delivered now on Uber Eats or Menu Log. Hungry Jack's Delivery. The burgers are better.
Hello, doctor.
How can I help?
Oh, my skin gets dry.
Try a bit of QV. It's perfect for your skin now.
Originally developed for the Queen Victoria Hospital, QV is dermatologically tested and scientifically formulated with body washes designed to help hydrate your skin while you cleanse. No wonder it's been trusted for generations to care for even the most sensitive skin. Find family-friendly QV at Chemist Warehouse for a great price.
So what did you end up getting?
I bought a Jeep.
You bought a Jeep?
Mm-hmm. And so did over 100,000 other Australians. But for some, owning a Jeep wasn't as enjoyable as driving one, which is why Jeep have now committed to cap price servicing and more dedicated technical specialists. So every driver is looked after. What do you think of that, Michael?
I'm in.
As credit to you, here's up to $120 credit from us. Add any selected month-to-month mobile plan with Vodafone and get the credit you deserve over 12 months. Find out more at vodafone.com.au. Ready?
It's tax time madness at JB Hi-Fi with 15% off HP Asus and Lenovo computers. Get $200 off the latest Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G phone. And these Gen 1 Sennheiser True Wireless headphones half price. Buy in-store, online, click and collect or get it delivered. JB, you've done it again.
The Chief Health Officer has begun approving industry COVID-safe planning, paving the way for even more Queenslanders to get out and enjoy a more normal life. The first to get the tick, the gym and fitness industry, meaning thousands of extra people can once again sweat it out.
He's been doing the heavy lifting of the health response. Now the health and sports ministers can get back to lifting in the gym.
It's been a long time since I've been in the gym doing this.
More than 10 weeks, in fact, and from today, many more can also return. The COVID-safe plan ticked off by the Chief Health Officer.
Last night I signed off the first industry plan, and it was the plan for gyms and fitness studios.
It allows multiple separate areas of 20 patrons to train, the first beneficiaries of the state's sped-up recovery plan.
Whether you've been hanging out for a spin class, a step class, to get on a treadie or to pump some weights, now's the time to get out and do it.
And also the time for people to return to training on sports fields around the state.
That is fantastic news for every sporting club out there.
Another COVID-safe plan approved allows 3 groups of 20 onto fields for senior and junior sport.
As of tonight, actually, so that's great news for our clubs and alleviates a lot of the pressures that they were feeling with trying to conduct training.
This stage only allows sports to go back to training in more numbers, but it is a crucial step ahead of the planned return to full contact, full competition by the middle of next month.
People see a real clear way through now, and it's an exciting month as we head into round 1 on July the 10th.
Putting players around the state back in the game. Joel Dry, 7 News.
A group of alleged con artists posing as spiritual healers have been scamming women. Victorian police say they convinced their victims to hand over cash and jewellery so it can be cleansed. The valuables are wrapped in a scarf so they can be blessed while the crooks swap them for rocks. And they tell victims not to unwrap their possessions for 40 days.
They're basically preying on the insecurities and then attempting to manipulate that to obtain their valuables.
Investigators believe they are targeting older women of Eastern European descent. Black Lives Matter protests across Europe have ended in violence, with firebombs hurled at the US Embassy in Greece. In London, police at Downing Street fought off demonstrators as huge crowds took to the streets.
A protest against racism in America becomes anarchy in Athens. Outside the US Embassy, Molotov cocktails and tear gas fly, the death of one man igniting global frustrations. Unlike American authorities, British police were taking a low-key approach until a protester broke the barrier outside Downing Street. Brawling on Boris Johnson's doorstep while he was inside holding a press conference.
Racism, racist violence has no place in our society.
But it exists.
This suffering been going on for far too long. It's not just one case. This is a chapter in a book, and the book for me is called Injustice.
The movement to end it is huge. Tens of thousands gathered in Hyde Park, marching through central London, social distancing eclipsed by the urge to unite. They were passionate but peaceful until tensions rose at Westminster. About an hour before this protest began today, UK police leaders issued a joint statement saying they stand alongside those who are appalled and horrified by the death of George Floyd. But more than 10 hours later, it's not what people here on the streets believe. They'll be back on the weekend, hoping their message sinks in. In London, Sarah Greenolch, 7 News.
Australian scientists have created 3D printed stents. The devices help treat blocked or narrow arteries and can now be tailor-made for each patient. They're cheaper than off-the-shelf options and should lead to a quicker recovery time. Several homes have been swept out to sea after mudslides caused a massive piece of land to break away in Norway. They didn't stand a chance against the force of nature, but incredibly, no one was injured.
The moment the earth moves. A huge chunk of land tearing away and sliding into the water, sealing the fate of the homes on top. One by one they're swamped, then crushed as the ground breaks up completely. It's not long before this is all that's left to see, just a few roofs. 8 homes in Alta were swept away, ending up in the local fjord. Caused by a mudslide stretching more than half a kilometre wide and 150 metres high. An emergency operation swung into action, but police couldn't access the area by land because it was so unstable. One person was evacuated from their home. Incredibly, no one was injured. These houses are usually occupied by holidaymakers and would likely have been filled during a public holiday earlier in the week. But there was a rescue. This dog stranded, then saved, winched away from harm, taken to more solid ground. Of concern now, the risk of more landslides. And for those houses that escaped this breakaway, their future is precarious. Nina Stevens, 7 News.
Mesmerising.
Yeah, Mother Nature can be very cruel.
$25,000 on offer to renovate your home. Coming up, does the Prime Minister's home builder scheme make sense in Queensland's property market?
Reckless and dangerous, the driver trying to beat the traffic.
Australia's oldest living Victoria Cross recipient, Keith Payne, auctions his Slouch hat. How much do you think it went for?
And it's a Porsche, but not as we know it. The first of its kind hits Australia.
Good morning, sir. I'm a private detective.
You're a what?
3 unmissable weeks of genuinely sizzling drama.
I've had no choice but to take the law into my own hands. I know what I'm doing.
The new 7-2 event is Scarlet and the Duke tonight.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Thanks for calling ING. It is Adam speaking. How can I help you? No, I'm currently working from home.
Oh, you can call anytime, so...
Sorry. And she's currently nibbling at my toe right now.
Yeah, working from home was a bit tricky at first, but...
There's definitely been some stray farts, hasn't there, mate?
And now your loan's on a fixed rate. Can I help you with anything else?
No, you made my day.
Well, whatever 2020 throws at you, we're here for a chat anytime.
Too easy.
Shaver Shop's end of financial year sale. Save up to 80%. GHD Original Styler now $168. Philips Sonic Hair Electric Toothbrush half price. Plus 60% off this Braun IPL now $319. Save up to 80% at Shaver Shop. Sale on now.
Stratco has all the offers you need during the Stratco Stocktake sale. Get 72 months interest-free on patios and sheds and pay nothing for the first 12 months. Or get a $500 gift card before the end of the financial year on a Stratco Outback patio. T's and C's apply. Buy online at stratco.com.au and we'll deliver to your house or click and collect. Plus, get a non-contact quote and interactive custom design while you talk with a design consultant over the phone. So, you bring the dream, Stratco will bring the how-to.
Save 20% on your second policy when you buy new, eligible Suncorp home and car insurance together before July 10. Helping you save when you need it most. That's the Suncorp spirit.
Stick boredom on the bench. Footy's back. For every Thursday and Friday NRL game this round, place a head-to-head bet, and if your team wins by 6 or more, we'll double your winnings in bonus bets up to $50. Tab, long may we play.
It's the end of massive electricity bills. Get our biggest solar package at our best ever price. Pay $0 up front with 24 months 0% interest payment plans.
For solar with a hint of genius, visit smarthousesolar.com.au.
To finance, and the share market has set another new 3-month high after a seesaw day of trading. The ASX 200 added 50 points. Qantas jumped 7% after announcing the major increase to its domestic flight schedule. It closed 30 cents higher. The Australian dollar is buying 69 US cents, 55 pence and $1.07 New Zealand. And petrol prices are still going up. Drivers should fill up now before cheap deals disappear. The average price of unleaded is $1.22 in Brisbane. A driver has been caught out speeding along a footpath to avoid traffic. It's believed he had an argument with another driver just before moving off the road in Sydney. Witnesses heard swearing and horns blasting before one of them had enough. Police say it was reckless and extremely dangerous. There are mixed reviews for the government's new home builders grant, with critics saying it only targets the top end of town. Renovators would need to spend $150,000 to qualify for the tax-free payment, but home builders could be the big winners.
For Gold Coast couples Sebastian and Kimberly, that great Aussie dream could soon become a reality.
Something we want to do relatively soon and just, makes that able to happen a bit quicker.
$25,000 tax-free to put towards building a new home or renovation.
Music to our ears, it really is, because we predicted that come August, September, the industry was going to fall off a cliff.
Now a lifeline. New house and land packages up to $750,000 will qualify.
Now is the time to get into the home market.
But if you're already in it, this isn't the time for a simple makeover. A renovation budget has to start at $150,000.
Who spends $150,000 on a renovation? Who can afford to? Only the very wealthy.
Leaving some tradies out too.
150 won't benefit us that much. No, average kitchen's probably around 20 grand.
Then there's the issue of over-capitalising, when the average house price in Greater Brisbane is $577,000. A $150,000 reno could be risky. Before embarking on a project, check with your real estate agent about realistic returns.
If you're not within 10 k's of the city, chances are your house is not going to benefit from spending that much money on it.
You have until December 31 to apply. Nikki Hayden, 7 News.
A piece of Australian military history has gone under the hammer for charity and exceeded expectations. Australia's oldest living Victoria Cross recipient, Keith Payne, decided to auction his ceremonial slouch hat to raise money for his local Rotary Club.
It's had its time with me, and it wasn't hard. It was, just a hooray, see you later.
The Korean War hero thought it'd fetch about $1,000, but it went for $30,000, which will go to help the needy. Porsche has released its first ever electric performance car. The Taycan can go from 0 to 100 kilometres per hour in 2.8 seconds and will set you back about $350,000.
It's a purely electric vehicle and also a true Porsche sports car.
It's expected to roll out of Australian showrooms from December. Coming up, recession-proof apprenticeships, the careers to chase right now. And big changes to water and power bills affecting thousands of Queensland households.
It's sport now, and a big test for the Broncos, Pat.
It is, Sharyn, but it's just been made a little easier. There's big news from Suncorp. We'll cross to Gilly very shortly. Also, no nerves this time. Lockie Neal with extra incentive to restart the AFL season on a high. And the Queenslanders aiming to upstage the world's biggest racing stable.
Wow, that was really powerful.
I've never seen anything like this. Most original thing we've seen
on a brand new night. Which spectacular acts will blow you away?
You're fearless.
What a way to end the show.
Get ready for one hell of a night.
I absolutely adore you. Incredibly beautiful, mesmerising. That was the moment we've been waiting for.
New Britain's Got Talent. Tonight, 7:30 on 7.
The stylish Haval H2. A globally engineered, European-designed and feature-packed SUV. From just $22,990 drive away. Haval H2 Auto. New car thinking.
Beacon's Mega Stocktake Sale is now on. Enjoy reduced prices on all our stock at all Beacon lighting stores across Australia or online. That's mega savings on all our stock during our Mega Stocktake Sale.
This Saturday with Sportsbet, get the best payout across all three tabs with top-toed exotics. Nail a quinella, trifecta or even a quaddie and you'll get the biggest return. Top-toed exotics from Sportsbet.
Rugby league hard man Corey Parker has won it all. He doesn't do gags, he doesn't do pranks, but he does play KFC Supercoach. Register today at supercoach.com.au.
Kill bacteria that can cause sore throats fast with Betadine Sore Throat Gargle. Or treat and relieve with new Betadine Gargle and Lozenges Kit.
Right now, most Australians are using their home internet in more ways than ever.
and in more places than ever. Wi-Fi signals get weaker the further you are from your modem. So if you find yourself needing internet in the far corners of your home, you might benefit from a Wi-Fi extender to boost your signal and improve your experience. For more home internet help, visit nbn.com.au/optimise.
What if I get coronavirus?
How do I do my rehab now?
Why is it so hard to get out of bed?
COVID-19 is impacting us all differently, which is why we've introduced Medibank COVID-19 Health Assist. With direct access to hundreds of healthcare experts, eligible members can receive health advice and support from their homes at no extra cost. Visit medibank.com.au to see how we're providing better support for our members.
Did someone say KFC?
The Sports Report brought to you by KFC. Get your KFC contact-free today.
The baby Broncos have caught a break before tonight's blockbuster with the Premiers. The world's best player, James Tedesco, ruled out under COVID-19 protocols. Sevens League expert Trevor Gilmister is at Suncorp with Ben Davis.
Paddy, the Roosters fullback woke this morning with an elevated temperature, anything above 37.2, and he's not allowed inside an NRL venue. Gilly, he's the Dally M medalist. It's a massive loss.
No doubt about that, Ben. He was sensational last week, second to Jason Taumalolo in metres gained, and that new 6 to go rule, he's just loving it.
An unbelievable stat. The Broncos have not lost to the Roosters here in 6 years. Does that change tonight with the baby Broncos?
Yeah, I'm not into the baby Broncos. Pax and Newey are making their debut, and let's hope they have a sensational game and a great career. But you look at them, Lodge, Huss, Offengowie, Flegler and Carrigan. It's a pretty good-looking forward pack, and that could be the mainstay of the Brisbane forward pack for the next 6, 8, 10 years.
Well, in the middle, it doesn't get any better for Brisbane, but what needs to get better, ball control.
Dreadful last week, and I reckon Siebes would have focused on that this week. A lot of ball handling and drills going on. But yeah, they were 36% with the ball last week, made over 150-odd more tackles than the Eels. So and if they're any chance to win tonight, Ben, they've got to hang on to the ball.
Great insight as always, Gilly. Paddy, I'm going to leave you this stat. So Brisbane have beaten the Roosters 3 of the last 4 games.
Thank you, guys. The Titans will be at the Cauldron Sunday as captain Kevin Proctor admits it's desperate times for his winless side. Justin Holbrook took an axe to the squad, making 6 changes to tackle the Tigers, including dropping Origin props Jared Wallace and Shannon Boyd, something the skipper welcomed.
I think it's just putting everyone on notice. It's given everyone a little kick up the bum, I guess, and everyone's been training really well today, especially.
And the NRL has banned betting on the Dally M's as police widened their probe into the scandal surrounding a plunge on the Coach of the Year award. The Lions' best player insists clashing with his old team will be like any other game. And this time he means it. Lachie Neale admits facing Fremantle last year messed with his head, but next Saturday he's ready when Brisbane's season resumes.
He landed at the Gabba with big raps and delivered. Third in the Brownlow, an All-Australian, Lachie Neale was crowned Lions Club champion 2019.
He's a superstar. We're lucky to have a bloke like that at the club, and I guess that's what we've done here at the club with this culture. We've brought blokes in like that, blokes who can really make an impact.
While winning new hearts, he broke others across the Nullarbor until the final kick of round 10.
Wouldn't say we really owe him one. We want to get the win. We started with a pretty average display in round 1, so we don't want to go 0-2.
Neale finished with 26 disposals, a quiet night by his lofty standards.
My head was probably spinning a little bit last year playing them, but I feel good now and sort of got that first one out of the way, so it'll just be like playing any other game.
But the next one won't be. The Gabatoir empty.
Playing away against a home crowd can sometimes be daunting for a young team, so to go over there and not have that will be good for us.
They've changed quite a bit as well. A lot of new personnel, new coach. It'll be interesting to see if they've changed the way they play.
2 months stewing on what went wrong in round 1 will change how the Lions played. Too much handballing, not enough kicking to their weapons.
We know we've got such a potent, really fast, agile forward line, so those scramble balls, those surge kicks really suit our forward line.
Ben Davis, 7 News.
He'll carry 58 kilos and start wide in barrier 17. Still, the mighty Godolphin stable is confident trekking can become the first horse since Black Piranha a decade ago to win back-to-back Stradbroke handicaps. Very early, every morning, globally, racing's behemoth stirs. Even a pandemic can't slow Godolphin. The stable will start 4 in Queensland's Great Sprint. Trekking is back for more.
It's all Trekking for the Blue Army.
He's very small. He's actually surprising everyone. He's all heart. He tries very hard.
Nassim's been with Trekking on a journey that's generated 2 Group 1s and $3.7 million. But they're hardly best mates.
He bites a lot, and he's not very friendly.
Perhaps he needs these surrounds. Race favourite Dawn Passage has luxuriated at Aquas Farm since winning the Fred Best Classic. He's primed to upstage Sheikh Mohammed's stable.
Little Brisbane boy and my Cairns mates, we're all going to give it a red hot.
It's Rory Lynch's first ever foray into ownership.
Like any probably great horse owner, you buy it at a boozy lunch down in Melbourne after a big campaign.
For 12 months he didn't tell his partner.
She's happy now. She's really happy now.
After Tuesday's track work and barrier draw, it's shaping as one of the most open Stradbrokes in years. Blake Spriggs hopes 2 weeks in isolation will be worth it.
Prison life, I was calling it. It's just stuck at home, eating minimal food, working out twice a day and trying not to go crazy, basically.
Stradbroke Day will be live and free on 7. I think Rory's partner will be very happy if Dawn Passage salutes on Saturday.
Champagne all round, I think. All right, thank you, Pat. Queenslanders feeling the pinch have been given a rare financial reprieve. A utilities freeze plus government rebates are leaving residents with extra cash.
For 76-year-old Neil Stratton, paying the power bill has never been so nice.
It was quite a very pleasant surprise.
A $200 credit from the state government getting his account back in the black.
It was somewhere around $220, $230.
Not debited, instead left with $27 credit.
I couldn't work out why.
Everyone gets it, still many are confused or simply not aware.
I haven't received any rebate, no.
I don't know.
All I know is it's not in the red.
Urban Utilities today announcing they'll freeze prices too until the 1st of January, cutting the cost of water bills for an average household by $10.40 over 2 quarters. The state government's bulk water charge will still increase by 3.5% from July, costing us an extra $7.88. Urban Utilities establishing a specialist team to help with overdue bills during COVID.
We can offer interest-free payment extensions or flexible payment plans.
If you're still having trouble paying the bills, mention the Home Energy Emergency Assistance Scheme. Those in financial hardship could be eligible for $720 every 2 years. Accepting a hand up, not a handout. Georgie Chumley, 7 News. Getting a foot in the door during the COVID collapse. How young people can take advantage of the skills shortage and recession-proof their future.
And at the moment it's 15 degrees in Brisbane with calm winds. A few more sunny breaks returning. I'll have the weekend forecast coming up next.
There's only one Brekkie show
Can't believe it.
where you can wake up a winner.
How cool is that?
This is Big Brother. Hello, Sam. Hello, Koshi. Monday, you'll be in my house. Won't that be fun?
Sunrise Big Brother Week from Monday.
The Snooze End of Financial Year sale is now on. Save up to 50% off mattresses, including Sealy, Tempur and Madison. And for this week only, get an extra 10% off all mattresses. Hurry, sale on now.
Amazing what a little snooze can do.
The rear-wheel drive Kia Stinger. It took 7 years to create and 4.9 seconds to understand why.
While we're all having nights in, make yours a big night in. Because this year you could win up to $8,000 worth of prizes from a huge range. Woolworths Big Night In. There's a new winner every day.
Win your town's $1.69 million prize home draw. Choose Country Coastal Living in Berry on New South Wales South Coast or Magical Umundi on the Sunshine Coast. Only 400,000 tickets available at $15 each. Buy now at yourtown.com.au.
Get AHM hospital cover from only $15.75 a week. It's that easy.
so you can get back to doing whatever it is you like to do. Even that. Find out more and join AHM Direct today. AHM, the simple bit.
1, 2, 3, 4. So clap it back. Hey, clap, clap. So clap it back. Hey, I'm getting you right back. 'Cause you're not gonna sit around living like that. So clap it back. Clap it, clap, clap. Alright, so clap it back. Hey,
Centrum provides multiple health benefits in just one tablet. Centrum, complete from A to Zinc.
A few days ago, James had neck pain. Then he discovered Voltaren Emel Gel. It relieves pain 2 times faster and reduces inflammation. Voltaren, the joy of movement.
Right now with Clarendon Homes, you can enjoy more luxury for less. 50 premium upgrades for only $3,990 with luxe inclusions. Like fully ducted air conditioning, a designer kitchen and butler's pantry, luxurious bathroom and ensuite, higher ceilings. In all, 50 premium upgrades that take luxury to the next level. Hurry, it's for a strictly limited time only. More luxury for less with Clarendon Homes.
Getting back on the road is something we're all looking forward to. And at Toyota, we're here to help you do just that.
Get Hilux 4x4 SR5 from $53,990 drive away. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Switch gives you the power to pick your promo. This Stradbroke Handicap Day, choose whether to double your winnings or get bonus back if your horse finishes 2nd or 3rd in races 1 to 4 at Eagle Farm, Randwick and Flemington. Ladbrokes, back yourself.
In the closest ever grand final.
It's a 9. It's a 9. So it's down to me.
Don't miss the nail-biting finish.
You are House Rules champions.
Who will win? The House Rules Grand Final, Sunday at 7.
19 years, 6 months was the day that I found out that I was a dad. This is for you, my son.
Home and Away, weeknights on 7.
Making news tonight, cash grants of $25,000 are on offer from the federal government to help keep the building industry afloat. Another 3 officers have been charged over George Floyd's death. The officer who kept his knee on the victim has had his charge upgraded to second-degree murder. And travel within Queensland will soon be easier. Qantas to fly more than 300 return domestic routes a week. It's hard to escape the doom and gloom of a recession, so spare a thought for school leavers. There are fears that thousands of apprenticeships will vanish, but a skills shortage is tipped to cushion the blow.
Getting a foot in the door.
There's certainly some anxious times, but you push on.
The new advice for school leavers.
Recognise there's a skills shortage. It hasn't been impacted by the pandemic. If anything, it's increased the opportunities.
The new home building scheme also a welcome boost.
The carpenter, the bricklayer, the painter, the plumber, the tiler, those trades have always been in very high demand.
Electricians too. Tony Georgiev started his business during the GFC. Despite the pandemic, he's taken on 6 apprentices.
Yeah, you do hear a lot of doom and gloom, so it's hard to put that aside, but we're going fine. We're kicking goals.
Started working here, started getting some more money and stuff like that, so yeah, it really helped me out.
Other areas tipped to hold strong include mining.
That's a really good career for young people to consider.
And the health sector.
Even in an aged care home, you've got the apprenticeships around commercial cooking in the kitchen.
But new figures predict up to 100,000 apprenticeships could be lost across the country by December. Tourism and hospitality are expected to take longer to bounce back. But as we move deeper into the recovery period, more opportunities are expected to emerge.
We're starting to get increasing inquiries for hospitality.
Growing optimism in a glass half full approach. Marlena Wapp, 7 News.
Weather time now. Tony, how's it looking for the start of the weekend?
Well, Max, we'll see some slightly warmer conditions as we push into the first weekend of winter and even a few more sunny breaks. Today, though, amongst those little sunny breaks, the cloud thickened across the southeast. Still a cold morning with inland spots down into single figures. Canungra leading the charge on just 1 degree, tops just below average. Kept a little bit cooler by that cloud and southerly winds. A lot of 21s on the board here. Onto the satellite, high pressure down south is driving our weather and that cooler air up into southern Queensland. A couple of very light showers on the north tropical coast, but otherwise dry across the state and much of the nation. Into tomorrow, not much change. That high stays slow moving. Winds will turn a little bit more onshore on the Queensland coast, returning those showers to central and tropical areas. Elsewhere, mostly settled apart from this cold front. That should bring a couple of showers to Tasmania and their, capital Hobart, a top of 13 degrees there. Otherwise, tops in the low to mid-teens for Melbourne, Adelaide and Canberra, down to -3 overnight there. To northern Queensland, I mentioned those showers. They'll be most likely around Cairns and Mackay. A bit more sheltered, so mostly dry in Townsville, and a similar pattern right across this region through much of the next week. Heading south, Hervey Bay, Maryborough and the Fraser Coast will be most likely to see any of those passing showers thanks to strong onshore trade winds. Inland, some patchy early frost again. Roma down to -1 overnight. Across the southeast, keep that thicker blanket handy overnight. Another chilly one, then a touch warmer. A few more patches of sunshine during the day tomorrow. Ipswich 4 up to 23 degrees. Logan tracking for a top of 22. And a similar range across the metropolitan area with a few inland spots dropping into single figures tonight. That includes Oxley and Kenmore. On the water, winds easing. There'll be early south-southwesterlies up to 20 knots. Then southeast below 15 knots in the afternoon and still plenty of southerly swell offshore. So in Brisbane, 11 tonight, then a partly cloudy top of 23 degrees. Looking at the 7-day forecast into the weekend, not too much change. Saturday, a top of 23, slightly warmer on Sunday. Again, some patchy cloud around. In Ipswich, warmer conditions on Sunday again, a top of 25 degrees, slightly cooler with 23s on Monday and Tuesday. Now on the Gold Coast, a bit of a change in the pattern from Sunday into next week as showers return, most frequent through the middle part of next week. And on Sunshine Coast, as showers also picking up, especially from Tuesday, maybe some rain around on Wednesday. Something to watch. But in the meantime, mostly dry conditions on the weekend.
All right, Tony, thank you for that. And that is all from us this Thursday. Thanks very much for your company.
Join Angela Cox for the latest from 7 News at 10:55. From all the team, have a good night.
Good night.